Guys, I don't want to say the Pistons are bad because they've got a core four. They got Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren, and Asar Thompson. Like, they've got their four guys. Obviously, two of those four guys have the potential to be solid 3-point shooters. Asar, I think he can become like league average. Jalen Duren's never going to be a 3-point shooter. But this is a great article from HoopsHype. How the Pistons basically, I guess, got robbed. And let's talk about it. So the Pistons have gone winless in November. After falling to New York, they lost 16 games in a row. They're the first team to go winless for an entire month since the 2015 Philadelphia 76ers and 13th team in NBA history to do it. Also, I thought about this today. What if Monty Williams thought, okay, I just got the largest coaching contract in history. What if I do such a bad coaching job that they fire me and I get the biggest buyout again? Then he can retire. Now, I'm kidding, but Monty Williams hasn't been pushing the right buttons, that, or at least it seems like that could be part of the problem. Cade Cunningham isn't, I love Cade, and I think this is also just a product. This team just looks dysfunctional. He's averaging 22 points a night. He's shooting 42% from the field, 34. He's averaging 7 assists. Cade's fine. People are gonna talk trash about Cade, but I think Cade's fine. Okay, and I think the big problem is Troy Weaver. All right, and he hasn't done a great job. I think he did a good job drafting Beef Stew. Sadiq Bey, I think he gave up on him too early. Kelly and Hayes, obviously, we saw what's been there. Like, Hayes is starting to come along slowly, and he isn't a lost cause, but he's a defensive pass first guy. His efficiency is scoring wise isn't great, but he's a guy who's great. And Stewart has had a weird year this year, but he's still that bruising big man who can shoot from 3 at 38%. And then Bay's not on the team, and he's doing pretty solid for the Hawks. And what they say right here, Cade Cunningham was supposed to be this is not me saying this, but I agree with this. He was supposed to be the American version of Luka Doncic due to his size and shot making ability and skill level for a guard. But he's, he's came along slowly. He's had some injuries, and right now, I think his stats, you look at it, 22, 7 assists, 42% for the field, 34% from free. They're solid. But he only gets to the free throw line 4.5 times. He's turned the ball over 4.5 times a game. His shooting accuracy from 5 feet of the basket is lower than Joe Ingles at 52.9%. Joe Ingles is at 53.3. Ingles is 36 and blew out his knee like a year or two ago. And supposedly Cunningham has the 7th worst value over replacement player in the rate in the NBA, and the 8th worst box plus minus, and the 2nd worst win shares per 48 minutes of any player. And it's supposedly the Pistons are supposedly 8.5 points worse per 100 possessions when Cunningham's on the floor, which is crazy because I think this is again product of the coaching and the roster construction being terrible. Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren is interesting because Duren's already a double-double machine who can block shots and finish explosively. And Ivy, I think he's a deep reserve right now for Monty Williams, but he was a Dwayne Wade comp. Okay, and we should stop making that comparison for incoming shooting guards just because they're athletic. I didn't like that. But his size is there. I think Hayes and Cunningham and Ivy, it's weird having all three of them. Maybe trade Hayes. And Cunningham and Ivy's cool, but they also have Isaiah Livers who, I love him. And then Asar and Marcus Sasser. I mean, the thing is that, they missed out on the top pick. They got a great guy in Asar. And there's some misses, and Weaver appears to have hit on Duren, Thompson, and even Marcus Sasser. And the problem is the high draft picks in Ivy and Cunningham, I think they're going to be solid, but I don't think they're being given a good offense to thrive, or just the player development isn't there. And Ivy's obviously extremely raw. Cunningham, you could argue, isn't efficient enough from the outside or as a playmaker or as a winner / doesn't get to the free throw line enough. People say that's not a good enough for being a number 1 pick, and that he looks people are saying that they're saying this article that Cade Cunningham's ceiling looks like that of Joe Johnson, an oversized bucket getter with a mid-range skills. Wow, that's so messed up. And then obviously the whole Marvin Bagley, James Wiseman thing's weird. They have Kevin Knox. Like, general managers put his young players in a position to succeed and not just trot out a team and play the long game with the entire roster at once. The Mavericks didn't have Doncic out there with a bunch of equally young players when they first added him, and that's what they're doing with Cade Cunningham. So, like, honestly breaks my heart to see this.